All right, everybody. Thanks for attending. We're going to be talking about pre-fishing using technology. I'm Tyler Brinks with Navionics, and I do a lot of things within the fishing industry. One of the things I do is write. I do a lot of writing for different magazines and websites. I also do a lot of promotions, but the biggest thing is bass fishing. I started a blog a few years ago, Brinks Fishing. And that was just a way for me to stay involved with fishing and get into the industry. So that's kind of what I started doing. I work with Navionics throughout Washington, Oregon, and British Columbia as a marine specialist. So I help show people different aspects of technology and really just ways to use Navionics to catch more fish. Okay, so we're going to go over a few things today. The biggest thing is why internet research. We're going to also talk about Google Earth and Bing Maps. Also the Navionics WebApp, the Navionics Mobile App, and then also a case study on Banks Lake, which is a lake here in Washington State, and some of the things that I found using these different technologies. It's a perfect example of a lake that you could find a lot of things by using technology and really help narrow your fishing spots down. Then we'll also do a Q&A. So reasons for internet research. There's tons of reasons. The biggest one is to develop a game plan. Save time while you're on the water. You're not looking for spots if you've already found them because you have a game plan. If you've done that research before, you're going to make your time a lot more productive. You're going to find new areas, and hopefully you're going to catch more fish because you're using your time more effectively. Now, one of the tools that I use is Google Earth, and the great thing about this is it's free. If you're not familiar with it, it's a satellite imagery. It's a great way to get a view of what the lake looks like from above. We're going to go over a few tips, tricks, and then a demo. Now, with Google Earth, it works well from home or on the lake if you have the app on your phone, and I do that just so I can see things from the water, maybe finding a backwater or something that you can't see just by looking around. It's a great tool. Now there's also the option to look at historical data and seasonal changes, and I'll show you that here in a minute. There's also the pin feature where you can actually make a pin and save the waypoint. There's also a way to export your waypoints for use in your graph. I'm going to show you how that works. So Google Earth, if you have this on your app, it's really easy to use from your phone or from the web. You just have to download it, install it on your computer. So here you go. We're here, and we're going to use Banks Lake as an example just because I know it's a good one. Okay, it's going to take you where you search. So as you can see, I already have a pin there. Now, with this lake, you're going to be able to narrow into a specific area that you're looking at just by using the plus to zoom in. Now, like I said, there's probably the coolest thing about Google Earth is the historical data. So you're able to toggle between the different dates that these satellite pictures are taken. So depending on the lake, maybe there was low water conditions or there was high water conditions. You're able to see the difference of what it looks like from above. Now I know from experience that this lake had a pretty big drawdown. It was about 4 years ago. They drew it down just I think mainly to work on the dam, but because of that I know approximately the date, so it really helped me narrow down some spots. So just by looking up here, there's an icon with a clock, and it looks like it's turning back the clock. So basically all this is going to do is show the historical imagery using a slider. It's really easy. So clicking it, you'll see that right now it's showing from March of 2015, so it's pretty recent. Now you can actually go all the way back to 1991. Now this is going to vary depending on what what data they have. So you kind of never know what to expect, but generally the last 20 years or so they're going to have data. Now, like I said, I do know for a fact that this lake had a drawdown in 2011, so I'm going to go ahead and move over to 2011. And it was right here. So as you can see, it's a totally different lake, and this is going to show a lot of areas that are typically underwater, but right now the water was so low in late 2011 that all this area is totally different. And you can see this comes out very, very far. And I know this is a really good spot to fish just from experience, and you know, we see people running across here so fast. And if you look, there's actually a couple road beds, and just by looking at this, you see just how shallow it is over there. Now, just to give you an example, looking at, fast forward a little bit, those road beds are not even shown on there. So by going back just a couple years, you're able to find those. You can see I have a pin there, just to give you an example. And there's a way to export what you find on your Google Earth and then export it to your graph. It's probably about 10 steps of things you have to do. You have to export it to a certain file type. You have to save it. Put it on an SD card. Put it on there. So it's not like a 1, 2, 3 thing, but it's easy to do. And I'll show you what I did to figure it out. And that was just Google the answer, and it shows you step-by-step instructions on how to do it. So that's a cool tool that allows you to save what you found during your internet research, transition it over to your graph, and then when you're on the water, it's easy to just go straight to that waypoint. So it's really easy to do. Now, one other thing I'll show you on here too is a different area, and that is looking at this right here. This is a big hump, and this I know is another good spot. And going forward, you can't see it at all at a later date. So that is a great tool. Again, look over here. There's a big point. This one's a little bit more obvious because it's pretty shallow, but you can see it. But just going back at different times, see in 2011, late in the year, typically a little bit lower, that was still coming up from the drawdown. It's pretty visible. Go back 2 months, it's really visible. So that's just cool to find spots like that, again, looking at other times, or you can see something's there, but it's really a huge difference if you happen to know that there was a drawdown. Again, not all lakes have this great benefit, but it's cool to be able to find that. Now, even if there's not something as drastic as a drawdown like this, typically spring is a lot higher water, so you're going to find a lot of backwaters. For bass fishing, for one, there's a lot of places that fish will go to spawn that are super shallow that might not have any water in them later on. So those are cool to be able to find those areas, again, get the waypoints, or just have a general idea of where to go, and then head over to those. So that's kind of an overview of some of the things you can do with Google Earth. You can see there's really a huge drawdown, and we'll cover this a little bit more when we do that case study in a little bit. Okay. So like I said, exporting the waypoints from Google Earth is really easy. Just Google it, export Google Earth waypoints to Lowrance. It gives you a bunch of different conversion steps. Basically, it has to be in a KML format, which this will explain everything. I'm not going to go over everything right now, but it's pretty simple to do, and it saves a lot of time. Now, Bing Maps, this is another cool thing that you can do. It's just like Google Earth, uses satellite images, but I like this one. I like both of them because depending on when they took the image, it might be a little bit clearer. If one of the images is really, it's really windy that day, it's not going to show up as clear from the satellite, so it's always good to check both of them. One might be cleaner, it might have been an overcast day, so it's not going to show up as clear, so it's good to be able to look at both of them. Using Bing Maps, here's a couple waypoints that I put on there, or pins. Now, once you have an account, you're able to export these, and the easiest way is to click on the pin, and then you're going to, next step, go to Actions, Export KML, same format as what I told you to Google, transfer those over to your graph. Okay, the other tool that I use quite often is the Navionics WebApp. Now this is a great tool. It's free as well, and it is available on the Navionics website, navionics.com. So go to the website, click here on WebApp, and from there you're able to get to the WebApp. And what it was designed to do, this is designed as a way to basically view what you'll see from different Navionics cards. So if you're shopping for a new card, say you're looking and you can't decide which one you want to buy, which one is going to work best for my graph or whatever the reason, this has a tab that pulls out and it will show you exactly what you'll see with each of the different Navionics cards. So depending on what lake you're fishing, it'll show the coverage for that lake. It's a really easy way to kind of try it before you buy it, because that's exactly what you're going to see with that graph and that card. So that's what it was designed for, but I have found that this is an excellent research tool. It's something you can do from a computer just by going to the website. I use it all the time to find spots, to look at lakes that I have upcoming tournaments on, all those things. I mean, it's a great tool. One other thing I'll show you real quick is one feature that is available on this Navionics web app, and it's something that Navionics is really known for, and that's SonarCharts. So taking a look at this lake, again, Banks Lake, you can see what a standard chart will look like. By clicking this little icon over here, looks like a little broadcast signal, this will show you way more detail. And with SonarCharts, like I said, Navionics is really known for SonarCharts. It's a way for people to be able to upload sonar logs to improve the quality of data for everybody, just by a click. So like I said, SonarCharts, I mean, basically it's HD maps that reflect the ever-changing conditions. Navionics uses these sonar logs that are sent in by people, and they increase the quality of all the graphs that everyone uses. It's very precise. Even if there's ever-changing conditions, it's always getting better. And only Navionics accepts sonar logs from all the major brands. And then when you create the sonar charts, each contribution benefits you and the community. It's really easy to record it. There's a tutorial on the website for plotter tutorials. You just basically check out what graph you have, follow the steps, and then just go from there. And then just upload it. Within about a week, you'll get a notice that says, this many sonar logs were recorded, and then it'll show you a Google Earth image of where you recorded, and then it will improve the quality of the data for everybody. So it's a very cool thing. You do it for free. Most of the different sonar charts, most of the different graphs, I should say, the current graphs are able to do that. It looks like we do have a question, and this one says, I'm running an older Lowrance unit, an LMS 522, and was wondering what is the oldest version that can add to the sonar charting for Navionics, or do I have to have an HDS model? Okay, to answer the question, you don't have to have an HDS model, and I'll go ahead and let's do that. Let's go ahead and check, and I'll show you. How you can tell if your chart or if your plotter will work. So I just Googled this Navionics compatibility guide. It's available on the website, but I wanted to get to it right here. So just go ahead and hit Americas, and then go ahead and click the Americas compatibility guide. Now, as you can see, there's all different brands. You said a Lowrance 522. So an LMS 522 is on here. Now, what it's showing to me is, unfortunately, it will not allow for sonar charts and sonar log recordings because it doesn't have this symbol. What it's showing is just the standard nautical charts. So as you can see, this is your category, and it just shows nautical charts. Now, if you look up, the Gold, the Navionics Plus, and the Hot Maps Premium will all work in your graph, but you will just be seeing the nautical charts, which is still great, but you're not going to be able to see the sonar charts and log the sonar for the sonar logs as well. So unfortunately, that one's not going to work. But as you can see, there's a lot of different ones that do work. See, HDS will work. Elite 4, 5, 7. So there's a lot of different ones on there. So definitely check this out to see. And this might be a way, if you're looking for a new graph, to kind of decide what's best for you. Is take a look at this and make sure it's going to work before you buy the card. Okay. So like I was talking, that's SonarCharts. Now there's also another thing called SonarCharts Live, and like I said, SonarCharts is a great way to create a map. Now there's a new technology that's going to allow you to do this live, and this is by using the app, which I'll talk about shortly, and also a unit with Vexilar that's called the Sonar Phone that connects all together, and you can actually create those sonar charts live. And this is really cool. So take a look at this, and we'll let you watch this real quick. Okay, so that's kind of a cool feature that is available now. I mean, it's just kind of amazing to see how much technology is really out there. This is the ability to do this remotely and see it live is really awesome. Now, the other thing is the Navionics Mobile App. Now, this is the most widely used boating app out there. It's great because you get the same detail as you would on your plotter. It's available on Apple, Android, and Windows. There's a free and a paid version. The ability to do tracks, routes, markers, and more. Okay, so this is just a screenshot from the mobile app. These are a couple screenshots I took earlier. Now this is the difference again between the Navionics, just standard Navionics nautical charts, and then also when you switch over to SonarCharts, you're able to see a lot more. Now one other thing I want to talk to you about real quick is these are what's called community edits, and you'll see this box on here where someone has changed that. Basically, Navionics allows users of the mobile app to create different things that they want to share. This is actually maybe this person caught a fish here, or it's a good spot, and they were willing to show this to someone else, and that is a great way to find new spots. Now, sometimes I hear people say, "Oh, I'm scared of using the mobile app because people are going to see my spots if I mark them." This user has actually given this to the community to use. So who knows what's out there, but it's a spot that you can check out. You're also able to go and look at different hazards, like this one, for instance, here, with rocks. It says rocks, and it says they're always under the water. So that's just a way to, kind of see the hazards that are out there. With the Navionics mobile app, there's a lot more you can do as well with, adjusting the water level. There's so many things you can do with this. I really advise everyone to check out the YouTube page. Check out some of the different tutorials on using the mobile app, because there's just so much you can do with this thing, and it's great because you can do it from your phone. And it looks like we have a question here. Okay, so the question is, I use the mobile app and have found that some lakes are not shown, i.e. Knoxon Reservoir. Now, does the web app show more lakes than the mobile app? Good question, and I think I know who this is, because I am actually fishing a tournament on Knoxon Reservoir pretty soon, and there's no data out there. And unfortunately, there's nothing on this, on the mobile app, the web app. I couldn't even find a paper map for this lake. Now, one thing that can be done, and maybe this will be a good time to show you an example of what SonarCharts can do. Okay, so we're going to go back to the web app. Okay, so for instance, there's a lake over here called Spirit Lake. Now, if you look at it, it looks like a big blue blob, and that's how it's always looked. You know, but I actually fished a tournament there, and I decided to go ahead and record my sonar logs and then upload those for Navionics. Now, by hitting this sonar log button, this is the main button here, you can see how much more detail there is just from one time of me fishing. And Navionics recommends that if you're going to create sonar charts, the best thing to do is to go ahead and, you know, idle, not necessarily idle, but go slow so you don't lose bottom contact. You know, cover a lot of the water and cover it very thoroughly. And that's a way to get the best detail possible. Now, me personally, I was in a fishing tournament, so I just basically turned it on, started recording, fished all day, stopped recording, and you really don't even have to do that because for Lowrance users, it keeps track of your trails if you have it set up right. And then I just uploaded it. Now the benefit is for everybody to be able to see a map when before there was nothing. So that's just one example, and like going back to your question about Knoxon Reservoir, I believe there's nothing at all there still. It's up here. Here somewhere. Yeah, it's up here. There's nothing up here. It's over in Montana. But that is something I want to do, is to get out there and get some coverage of it, because right now there's nothing. Okay. So like I was saying, with the mobile app, or the web app I should say, you know, you're able to check the different chart plotters. You know, this is a great way, like I said, to kind of test what you're going to see just by clicking the different cards that you're looking at buying. It's a great way, like I said, to try it before you buy it, to see what coverage you're getting at your lake. So that's something I would definitely recommend if you're looking at a Navionics card. Here's another good example that before we did a sonar logging event, and you can see how much more detail there is on this. So that's a great tool that I use, is to see what you're going to see on the lake with the different cards. Again, this was just me constantly uploading sonar logs and us having a sonar log event to really improve the quality for everybody. So now going back to Banks Lake, that's kind of a good example just because it has so much data on it. And like when we showed you the Google Earth, there's a lot of things that are on it. So for instance, this is a nice underwater hump, and with the addition of SonarCharts, you're able to see a lot more detail on it. And I did find this on Google Earth, but with Navionics, you could see a lot more detail, and you could see how much it changes at different depths. I have it on, let's see, make sure it's on feet. You can toggle between different measurements if you wanted to see kilometers or nautical miles or meters and feet. It'll adjust that right away for you. So you can see there's a lot of detail on this spot. And again, this is just going to continue to get better and better as people upload their sonar logs. So here's an example of that roadbed. Okay. Now, we got another question here. Hold on a second. Okay, the other question is, let's see, can you overlay Google Earth? Yes, you can. Over here, there's no overlay. just as simple as going to terrain for one to see the different roads and maps around there, and then also satellite. So what this is going to do is give you better detail of the whole picture of what it looks like. You might find what the rocks look like, the islands, all that stuff. It will definitely help you in certain situations. So good question there. Yeah, this is okay, so like I was saying with the mobile app, we got another question here. Okay, can you save the pins on the web app and transfer them to your mobile app? Yes, anything that is connected to Navionics, if you are logged in, they do all work together. If you have an account, which is free, you're able to share them across all the different Navionics products, whether it's the mobile app or hopefully soon, there is some technology that's going to allow you to connect it directly to your chart plotter. Now with that, right now Marine has that available. That's something that they do. And there is the technology is available for Lowrance, it's just not able to connect yet. So with Marine, it's something called Plotter Sync, and this is going to allow your waypoints to connect from your app to your graph. Now Lowrance just came out with something called Go Free, and hopefully that's going to be something that's going to work with Navionics and it's going to be able to share everything wirelessly. So good question. That is definitely coming, and with everything in technology, it's continuously changing, and I'm excited to see what's next. Okay, we've got some other questions here. Okay, we got that one. If Navionics app has the ability to toggle sonar, so you can see the aerial imagery of the lake. Yep. I think we should cover that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and continue on a little bit. Okay, so like I said, Banks Lake is a great example for a case study just because, like I said earlier, there is that Google Earth has the ability to see past historical data and things like that, so this is a prime example. So looking at this, this image was taken March 2015, and looking at it, you can tell it's a road that goes through there. So you could kind of see where it comes out through here and here, but you can see there's a road there. So by using the Google Earth feature, you're able to go back and see a lot more detail. Okay, so like I was saying with that Google Earth historical and seasonal data, really easy to go back, jump back to a different time, and see what it looked like when the water was low. So with this is an image from September 2011, and you can see that roadbed is very, very visible now just because the water was so low. And I fished this spot a lot, and it's a good spot. And one thing I found with Google Earth is that road has to lead somewhere. And with this, you can see that it connects down here. And this area is really shallow, so I found this just by fishing it. You could see it because it's a couple feet deep, but you can see exactly where it comes out and where it connects. So you can go onto Google Earth and map whatever depth you want to fish along this roadbed, because the fish are still going to be there. So save those waypoints, export them, and you could be out here fishing, and it looks like you're out in the middle of nowhere, but that's a roadbed under there. And this is something else I found too. This is a whole other roadbed over here that I did not know about until I started using Google Earth. So it's cool to have these spots that look like you're out in the middle of the lake, but really there's something there just because you saw it from Google Earth. So kind of going back to the Banks Lake, the difference between the standard nautical charts and the sonar charts, it's really cool to be able to see how much detail there is on there. Okay, I've got some other questions here. We'll go ahead and open it up for a minute. Got some questions. One question is, will this be recorded to view later? Yes, we will have this recorded. And it will be available on the Navionics website. And it also will be on my Facebook page. I'll also send you guys all an email with a link to where to get the recorded webinars, and also the Navionics Facebook page as well. Okay, this is a good question here. So my question is, how many options, with so many options of software out there, how do I choose the right software for my needs? I must admit this is all new to me, and really, this is new to everybody because it's constantly changing. The biggest thing I always tell people is, take a look at where you're going to be fishing, and then look at the coverage for that area. The other thing is to take a look at what graph you have. We talked about that older graph earlier. So if you have an older graph, it's going to kind of limit what's going to even work. So definitely use that compatibility guide to see if it's going to work. Take a look at what lakes you fish a lot, and then use the web app to see what the coverage is going to look like. Because if you fish a lot of smaller lakes, I mean, you definitely probably want Navionics to be able to map them. If there's no technology at all, you want to be able to create your own map. So kind of a hard question to answer, but I would say definitely do some research to see what's going to work for what you fish, where you fish, and what equipment you have. So good question. So another question is, what is the difference between Insight Genesis and Navionics? And if you're not familiar with it, Insight Genesis is a product made by Lowrance, and it does a lot of the same thing. I mean, it's a great tool. You're able to see maps and create maps and do all that. I mean, the biggest thing that I always tell people when I get asked that question is what the biggest thing is with Navionics, it's going to be all the different brands. So with Insight Genesis, it's just for people who have Lowrance. So obviously it's only going to be limited to a certain amount of people having the data. Where if you think about how many different companies make fish finders, we got Lowrance, Humminbird, Garmin, Raymarine, and there's tons of them. All these people are sharing data for one common good versus just one group of people. So it's kind of, you're going to get a lot more data with it. So I think that's probably the biggest difference between the two, is just the collective amount that is uploaded because of SonarCharts. All right, any other questions? Okay, here's a good one. How do I find tutorials on Navionics.com? Okay, so I'm going to show you the website and show you a few different things that you can do. Exit this for a minute. And I'd also recommend everyone to check out the Navionics YouTube page. I think that is a great tool to find a lot of questions, a lot of tutorials. Me personally, a lot of times it's easier to see someone doing it, seeing pictures and the video, and then you can watch it over and over versus checking it out online. So definitely check that out. But there are a lot of good resources on Navionics.com. Help is a good question, a good way to get some different questions. And depending on what you're going to be using it, if you want a certain tutorial, SonarCharts, there's a lot of tutorials right here. That's probably the biggest question I have is, how to create your own maps. And with SonarCharts, you could learn how. And here's some more, someone just asked about the Insight Genesis. Here you go, community benefit. So again, it's a wide range of plotters. It's not, and mobile devices. It's not just, one particular brand. Let's go back here. So for instance, if you were looking for a tutorial on how to create SonarCharts. This is a great resource. Basically just go ahead and click whatever brand of electronics you use. For instance, Lowrance. I have an HDS 12 Touch. How to export and upload. Tells you pictures, shows you exactly what to do. Step 1. Yeah, this is when you're going to export it and upload. Going back to, it's much easier when you're actually just recording it. Tells you exactly, here's your plotter recording, how to improve the data quality, how to upload and select. So it does detail everything that you need to know. There's other tutorials as well for different brands. So that's one of the tutorials that probably the biggest question I get is how to create sonar logs, and it's really easy to do. So just pick what unit you have and then go from there. All right, do we have any other questions? Let's see, we've got one more here. I think we kind of covered that with the web app. And any other questions? Yeah, does the web app show more lakes than the mobile apps? They're going to show the same exact thing. The web app and the mobile app are going to show the exact same data. Same as if you have the card, it's going to all show the same as long as the card is updated. Oh, that's something good I'll show you too, is with the card, there's something called freshest data, and it's going to allow you to update your card. This is a big thing. So when you buy your card, you're able to update it and get all the latest information. Like I said, with SonarCharts, it's a great way to get that latest data. But with your card, if you want to be able to upload it and update it, all you have to do is be there with your card, like it says, sure your card's unlocked, plug it in, and from there it'll guide you step by step on how to update your card. It will prompt you to show you, what you want to update. It's really a good way to make sure it's always the latest data. So I definitely would recommend doing that every few weeks. I make it a habit of taking my card out of my graph and putting it in the card to update and get all the latest data. And you put your card in it, and if you have the software downloaded on your computer, it will pop it right up. You log in, and it will update your card very, very easily. Let's see what's in here. I'll show you a sample here. Okay. So once you're logged in, it'll have all your information as far as your plotter. How many. The ability to add more SonarCharts. It's really cool what you can do with it. Okay, any other questions? The question is, could you show a little bit more about the web app? Okay, I'll kind of show you a few things that I do when I'm looking for a new area. This like I said, this is a really good lake because it has good data already. And even without the SonarCharts, it's still pretty good compared to a lot of other lakes. But depending on the time of year, like for instance, this time of year it is springtime, so I'm going to be looking for spawning areas. Now, this is historically a pretty good area for spawning, and this is called the Devil's Punch Bowl. And you can see, and again, we kind of saw this from Google Earth, so we kind of had an idea of where to look for, but this whole area up here in the lighter, this color blue is a lot shallower. So I know that those would be typically good spawning areas. So if I was looking for somewhere that kind of a pre-spawn area that, for fish that haven't quite moved up to spawn yet, I'd be looking at these deeper areas out here and just kind of following their progression up here. You can see these are, little underwater points that are leading into shallow water. So it's a cool way to find new areas. See, there's another good area that I'll show you over here. Again, just because of the different colors, you're able to see the different shallower areas. It actually says shallow area on it, but that's a cool way to find those spawning areas that the fish are going to be moving to as the water gets warmer. And I'll show you the difference between the different charts as well. So when you pick Hot Maps Premium, we are in the west, and it's going to show you exactly what that covers as well. So if you are headed over to Montana or down to Nevada, it'll show you what is going to be covered. So that's a cool feature to, again, show what you're going to get with each card. Okay. There's Banks Lake right there. So if you were just going to have the Hot Maps Premium, this is what you're going to see. Again, this is a pretty good lake, even before all the sonar charts. And you'll see down here it says SonarCharts is not available with Hot Maps Premium. So it is included with Navionics Plus, Platinum, and Hot Maps Platinum, but with this, if you chose to buy this card, it's not going to have that ability. But like it says here, you are able to get it with Navionics updates. I'll show you what that is too. So there's a way to download and upgrade any existing card you have. So if you have an older card, chances are, depending on how old it is, you're able to update that for $99 to make it a current card. So you just download it, or they do have the kit that will you could buy, but you can do it online and you can turn your old card into a new one. So that's what I'd recommend if you are looking to get SonarCharts and you wanted to. If you have a card already, you could do it for $99, depending on how old the card is. So we're going to go ahead and show what the Navionics Plus card will do, just to give you an example of comparing the two. Again, going over to Banks Lake. Roosevelt. So then when you can see there's a lot of good data when you hit the SonarCharts. So that's the huge difference between the two cards. And this is one of my favorites. It's a Navionics Plus card, and I like this one because basically it's a blank card. You buy it and then you plug it into your computer and you select what area you want to have coverage. And then from there, you're able to download only what you need. If you're fishing only Washington State, you could save some room on there, and for all the updates that are going to be coming, because you don't need to have all of U.S. and Canada on one card. It's just kind of what you're going to need, and it will also make it downloaded a lot faster. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to show you a couple other ones on here. Oh, here's a good question. More on the mobile app. Is it available on Windows? And yes, it is, right here. You can download it straight from iTunes, Google Play Store, or the Windows Store. So yes, it is available on all of them. With your PC, if you have a PC that has internet access, you could just go to the web app. But if you have a Windows tablet or something like that, you can get the software to have the app on your Windows phone or Windows device. Okay, so we have some more upcoming webinars, and there's a whole bunch of them with guys across the country, on all kinds of topics, everything from kayak fishing to sailing to bass fishing to walleye fishing, all kinds of different webinars. I would check out the Navionics Facebook page. There's going to be a lot of updates on there. I'll also be hosting 3 more of them. On Wednesday, April 22nd, we're going to be doing one on smallmouth strategies. Again, 7 to 8 p.m. We did get a question on if there's any in the Eastern time, and there are a lot of Eastern time zone ones. I just happen to live on the West Coast, so this time just fits my schedule better, and a lot of the West Coast people schedule better. But there's other people doing them that are a little bit earlier for those of you on the East Coast. So we have smallmouth strategies, and then we also have breaking down a new lake on Wednesday, May 13th. And this is going to be a little bit more in detail of what I look for, how I choose different areas, just basically breaking it down from A to Z. Also, Tuesday, June 9th, advanced drop shot fishing. So it's going to cover all about drop shot fishing with a little bit of what to look for with mapping, and technology. Once you figure out all you need to know and where to go is the other part of it. So like I said, definitely check out the Navionics Facebook page, the Navionics website to get a good idea of what other upcoming webinars are out there. I'm going to be sending all of you an email at the end of this that will have a link to this recorded webinar, and it will also have a link to all the other webinars that are available. So there's tons of different ones, from regional anglers to pros. There's a lot of good ones out there. Okay. Questions? Any other questions? Let's see. All right, well, if that's it, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And, I will have an email sent out to you guys, and it'll have my email address, which is tbrinks@navionics.com. If you have any questions about anything related to this or anything else, go ahead and send me an email. I'll be happy to answer it. So go ahead and shoot me an email, and I will get back to you and let you know. All right, thank you.